Good day, students. Today we have lesson number 5. The topic of the lesson is methods or functions, and we are going to make the task number 3. But not all the task, but we will have some tips or hints how to do it. And if you know how to do it, you can do it yourself. But if you have some problems, so let's watch this video. What we have to do: create a distance function that calculates the distance between 2 points on the plane. The coordinates of the points are inputted, the variables xy, x1 and y1 for the first point, and the variables x2 and y2 for the second point. So the variables will be inputted. We have 3 nodes here, 3 tips. The distance method must accept 4 integers as arguments, the coordinates of the points. So we will have method which will be called distance and which will have 4 integer arguments. The node number 2, the method must return null value, which is why you have to use void keyword in the signature. And here is a piece of the method. So we will use void because this function will return nothing. And node number 3, we have a formula here to calculate the distance between 2 points. Formula is rather big, and some tips also are here. We have to use math class to calculate square root, and math class again to calculate the power of the number. We have 2 powers here and 1 square root here, and the result, what we are going to see in console window after you start your program. So we have to see these 3 lines. So let's open Visual Studio. I have it opened here. So the code by default we have main function as always, and we have to create our own function. We know that it is called distance. It has to accept 4 integers. So let's do it. Our own functions we have to place outside the main method, not here, before or after. So let's do it now before the main method. We have static. Look here, the method returns no value. So we have void because it returns no value, and the name of our method is distance. Within this parenthesis we have to place our arguments. So we have 4 of them, 4 integers as arguments. It will be the coordinates of our points. The coordinate, 2 coordinates for 1 point and 2 coordinates for the second point. So here will be 4 arguments, and we know that the type of the arguments is integer. So we place int. First argument, let's call it x1, and again int because again integer, and y1 it will be. It's the coordinates of point number 1, and the same for point number 2, int x2, int y2. We have to place before the variables, before our arguments, we always have to place the type of it. Yes, so we have integers and we placed here int. If we will have not integer, for example, we will have real numbers, we need to put here double, 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 double. And then the curly braces for our method. So here inside will be calculation of the distance. So this formula has to be organized here, has to be calculated here. And we know that our method will return nothing, and because of it we always will have console write line here, because we need to print out our results, because it will not return anything here to print it here. And we need to output the results here. When we have void, usually we have console write line inside this method. So let's call it result CV console write line. It's the last line of our method. Here will be the calculation of this formula. And here just the result. We have to output to print out our result. What we have to do, we have to watch to see what we have in an example. Here is the result. The distance is in some number, some calculation. So we can copy it to do it like in the example, in this example. So to do it beautifully, we will use this $sign, and here we just add, let's call our variable to store the result, let's call it result, meaningful name. Yes, so we have result variable, and we will output it here, output it to the console window. So here it will be calculated int result equals to some calculation. We have it here. Yes, it will be long calculation. But when we have a rather big formula, it is preferred to make the parts of it, to calculate the parts of it. So let's do these parentheses. Let's calculate separately. So first will be this one, then this one will be calculated, and then we will calculate all together a square root of the sum. And each of these parts will have its own variable to store the calculation of these parts. Let's call this part power 1 and this part power 2. Let's do it here. Okay, it will not the tip, but the whole program, almost whole program. So we will have int power 1, and look here, we have these parentheses. We have to use this formula, class math, with two parameters, and pow, function pow with two parameters, number, so it will be this x2 minus x1, and power, it will be 2. So let's do it. Math dot pow. The first parameter, we have a hint here, yes, double x and double y. It means that first and second parameters will be double. O will be double, and so we need this result also be double. But let's stay it integer for a while, and then we will see what will happen. Math power. Okay, we have this x2 minus x1, x2 minus x1, and the second parameter will be 2. it's the power, it's the base num, and this is the power, and semicolon. Look here, we have underlining, red underlining. This means an error. So what we have here, cannot implicitly convert type double to integer. So it means that we have to put here a double, because the result can be double. And now we have no any underlining. And here, what we have here, we have some troubles here, some problems here. I think it's nothing. We have here. Okay, so we have for the first parenthesis, we need to do the same for the second one. Yes, you will do it for yourself. So second one, power 1 for power 2. The same, but we will have x, not x, but y. Yes, this one. Okay, and then we need to do this square root, to calculate this square root. And you have to use this formula, this not formula, but this method, SQRT. It's standard method in C#. So we have to use again some variable to store the result. And we have it already, yes. Int result. But again, it will not be int, yes, because we have double here. And math square root. I'm sorry, what's wrong here? Math square root. And again, we can see what will be here. One parameter we will have, but we will have a big parameter because we have sum here, power 1 plus power 2. Yes, power 1 plus power 2, semicolon. So it is underlining because we have no, it is for you to do to finish it, and underline will be no any underlines if you finish it. So we have a calculation here. We will output the result here, but inside the method, inside main method, we have to input 4 points to prompt the user to input 4 points. Yes, and to pass them to the method distance. We need some values here, and we take it here. We will take it here. We will prompt the user to input them. So what you are to do here? First, you have to ask user, please enter the coordinates of 2 points. Yes, to ask user first. Ask user to input 4 points. So you will have 4 variables to store these points, to store these values. Yes, 4 variables, and we see that they will be integers because the arguments are integers. Yes, for integer variables to store the coordinates. The names may be the same, x1, y1, x2, y2, and maybe some another names as you would like. So you will have uh, four variables, you will input them, and then you have to call your method. How to call it? You have to know it because we did it. So if you have here void, so we call the function just by putting its name, distance, and let's do it, call the method distance. Of course, the comments shows you what you are to do here. You can't just do like this and that's all. No, you have to do what is written here. You must call method distance, and then to pass these variables, there will be four of them. 1 some name, 2 some name, comma, 3 some name, and 4 separated by commas. And that's all. It will be the end of your task. You will run it, see the results, and download it to the Moodle system. Okay, now that's all for today, and goodbye.